In the discussion, you talked about the direct correlation between the economic situation and the rise of populist right-wing, radical right-wing movements. Would you please elaborate on this for us a little bit?
I mostly spoke about connecting the European economic crisis with the crisis of illiberalism in Europe in general. Extremism is one aspect of this illiberalism that we are seeing, in that it's about far-right parties. Now, what we are seeing are far-right parties doing better in the northwest of Europe, in the European core, where the economies were much more confident and didn't suffer much from the economic crisis. But at the same time, they did develop a sense of a nationalism. Parties became, the extreme parties that were there became much more vocal. There was a strong anti-immigration discourse, and the austerity that affected the discourse of these countries. In the countries of the periphery that suffered most from the austerity, we did see the rise also of far-left parties. So there was, across the board, we saw the reaction to the system. But what for me is much more worrying is the fact that some of the liberal values upon which the European Union was built, the values of the welfare states, the liberal economies that can give benefits to their citizens, the issues of solidarity, free movement of people, these we see more and more are being challenged in the current environment of Euroscepticism, which goes beyond the extremist parties.
In your introduction, you compared the situation in Greece and in Hungary. Could you tell us what could be the similarities and what are the differences between the two systems, so to speak?
I started thinking about it because there were some similarities between the extreme far-right party in Hungary and in Greece. Jobbik and Golden Dawn did present some similarities in terms of the nationalism that they both espouse, which goes to irredentism and how Hungarians or Greeks abroad are viewed, or the big Hungarian idea and the big Greek idea. So there is similarities in the ideology. Then in the practice as well, you see that there was a connection with neo-Nazi symbols. They both were parliamentary, but at the same time they preserved an extra parliamentary wing which was very aggressive, very racist towards immigrants, minorities, etc. Now that is one obvious similarity which is happening, but also the two countries have been facing similar challenges in a way. Hungary was the first country that was hit by the financial crisis of 2008, the first crisis in Europe that was hit really severely, which is similar to what happened in 2009 and afterwards in Greece. Then the two countries are also challenging the authority of the European Union through relations with Russia and having a closeness that other countries do not share as much at the moment. So there are some apparent similarities, but which have to do with the similar also structural or economic causes that have led to these kinds of similarities.
What conclusion would you draw from this comparison between the two? From this comparison between Greece and Hungary? That
often the challenge to the EU's power, be that normative power or the soft power of the European Union, which is clearly at the moment is looking at various dangers. They can come from small countries like Hungary and Greece. And I did like one comment that was raised during this workshop as well, that we are also, one point of comparison, although it comes from different political perspectives as well, because here the government is right-wing, and in Greece the government is a left-wing that is also cooperating with the right-wing, but basically you've got a left-wing reaction to Europe, and here you see a right-wing reaction to Europe. There is a comparative element in that both of these countries, they are actually claiming back what belongs to their own nation. The Hungarians, it was stated here that there was a lot of privatization and a lot of the assets of the country was given to foreigners that invested in this country. Now that's something that is also being asked in Greece to do. privatization, that you sell the assets, or that's a perception as well. You sell the assets to foreigners in order to pay your debt. That may be a commonality as well, and that both parties, both governments are reacting to this pressure of the countries to become global in that sense, selling their assets, becoming international, which